What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Sunday edition of Crunch Time here on Roto Grinders. Getting you set for another pretty fun slate of Major League Baseball action. So we will do that here with you over the next 45 minutes, heading up to lineup lock. Got myself, Justin Van Zuden, STL Cardinals 84. Got TJ Zwarich on one side, producing and co-hosting today. TJ, what's going on?
Not too much. Doing well. It's a beautiful summer day here in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and got some fun activities planned for later in the day. I like this baseball slate quite a bit. I got a lot of Spidey bombs ready. If the people are ready to smash the like button, I say we can do one at 20. Oh my gosh, we're already at 27. I'll get a Spidey bomb ready right away. I'll get the second one ready at 50 likes and a third one at 75. So let's keep smashing that like button. The very first one of the day, since the people are ready, it's Ozzy Albies is Spidey Bomb number one today, plus 460 on FanDuel. He was one of the first guys I bet in there today. Ozzy Albies plus 460, Spidey Bomb number one, and I got a lot more coming if the people are ready to smash the like button.
All right, good stuff, and we've got Tim Buell along as well. Tim, how you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Sweating some golf action. Hoping that Patia can take it down, but I don't think it's going to happen. So moving on to baseball. Yeah, I think this is a fantastic slate. There's decisions that need to be made in both cash games and GPPs. So it's a really fun slate, actually.
You know, lots of good pitching today. I know people are going to have questions about weather. Unfortunately, Roth is not on Sundays, so we have to do with just his updates on social media. He has posted a few updates. Let's see, one fairly recently. And the main weather concerns are in Pittsburgh and in Cincinnati, where unfortunately we've got some of the better pitchers today. Of course, Paul Skeens is pitching today. I think the rain just follows him around wherever he's scheduled to pitch, but so I will just post, or I'll just read Ross updates here for Pittsburgh, Tampa and Pittsburgh. He says two main things: the game likely plays, and he wants pitchers to be safe, but they are not safe with scattered storms developing later in the day ahead of a more organized band of storms. And if something comes early, it could spell trouble. So that's his Pittsburgh update. And then a yellow in Cincinnati for a chance of an early delay. Unless, and somebody asked him on Twitter, are pitchers safe in Cincinnati? And he said only if they announce a late start. So I have not seen that they're announcing a late start in Cincinnati. Maybe there's a chance that it won't rain at all there. But in any case, we've got potential hurdles with Skeens and potential hurdles with Lodolo. And as far as rain delays go today, seems like the games are eventually going to play, just a matter of whether or not there's a delay. So that's the best information that I can provide at this time. And we'll have to just keep an eye on that here as we go throughout the show. So Tim, I'll throw it back to you first here, and you can kind of lead us off with what you're planning to do with pitcher today, given that information.
Yeah, it's super, super tough because I thought, Paul Skeens would be like the clear and obvious, easy SB1. And then I dug into the weather report, and now I'm kind of like, not so fast. I'm officially off of Skeens for cash games. I'm still a little bit undecided what I want to do in single entry. I'm probably going to fade him in single entry also. That weather report seems a little bit more ominous than the one for Cincinnati. But then again, like Ross says, if they don't announce a late start, then pitchers are no longer safe. So, we still have some time though to make those decisions, and we also have decent backups for this is actually a pretty strong pitching slate. So it's not like we absolutely have to have these guys. We can go down to Bryce Miller. We could conceivably play Max Scherzer. We could play Sonny Gray. So I mean, there are pivots that we can do if we get this slate kind of ruined by some of this weather. So it's pretty easy to pivot around that if need be.
So I did see somebody mention in the YouTube chat that the radar looks fine in Pittsburgh. That's obviously the case now. The concern is storms developing like an hour or so after the game starts. And then, if there's any sort of rain delay, they're probably just not going to put Skeens back out there. So it's obvious that the Pittsburgh game is going to start on time. It's a matter of whether or not there's a delay after 2, 3, or 4 innings. That would be the issue. And with Cincinnati, the concern would be earlier in the game or potentially right as the game is starting. So just to clarify that. And then I'll throw it to TJ here. And then, before we can talk about the cheap guys, a little bit separate since it's just such a deep slate for pitching. TJ, what are you doing with kind of the top arms, Skeens, Lodolo? We've got quite a few aces today.
So the screen share is giving me grief right now. It keeps trying to share the wrong lineup HQ as opposed to the one, like, I don't want to show the one that I'm building lineups in. I want to show the one that is empty. There we go. I am planning to play a ton of Skeens today regardless. I'm doing 150 max in tournaments, and I'm planning on playing a ton of him. Like, I'm looking for upside in tournaments, and he is the guy that can provide me the most upside. I'm hoping that the weather scares enough people off of him. But in terms of pivots off of Skeens today, my favorite is Logan Webb, 9K, picking up a lot less ownership than Lodolo and Miller today. And I mean, if the weather scares people off of Lodolo and Skeens, I'm sure a lot of that ownership will go to Logan Webb. But as it stands right now, I really love that projected ownership number on him. Sonny Gray, I think, makes for an interesting contrarian spend up, as does Max Fried. I got both of them in my pool today. And then in terms of the cheap guys, Reese Olson I do really like, but he is picking up high ownership today. I love Jonathan Cannon as a pivot or as a double spend down today. He's been lights out so far, and while I don't think he's going to continue being this good, I still like him today against the Tigers. And so him projecting for only 10%, I think Jonathan Cannon is a great play. And then the only other pitcher in my pool would be Aaron Savali.
All right, Tim, what are you doing with the cheaper guys today?
Yeah, I mean, Reese Olson is definitely, your cheap option in all formats. I'm actually kind of considering playing him in cash games just to get up to a couple of these bats, but not really. He might be more of just like a single entry, large field GPP play. Really not considering any other of these cheap guys. I understand there might be a case for Cannon against Detroit, but I'm not going to click that. Really, I mean, I guess Savali's okay. I understand the reasoning behind it, but that's not somebody that I'm considering. It's really just Reese Olson. Did TJ say anything about Max Scherzer? Do you have him in your pool at all, TJ?
I'm not playing any Scherzer, no.
Yeah,
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait.
Yeah. Just so everyone knows, Adam Frazier was scratched, so he was batting leadoff.
Interesting.
All right, so yeah, I mean, there's about 10 guys you could consider today. And I won't fight anybody that decides they want. I won't fight anybody anyway, but I won't argue with anybody that wants to take a shot on Scherzer. It's not the craziest thing. They did let him get up to, I believe, 79 pitches in his last rehab start. So I could see a scenario where he gets to 90. I could also see them, being careful and pulling him at 70. Just don't know. And on such a deep pitching slate, it's tough to say where he'll end up landing on there, but it certainly makes some sense. So lots of good options, lots of pivots here today. I think Bryce Miller's even fine because he's facing the Marlins. I'll check, maybe 8 minutes before lock or something. And we'll see if there's any updates on Cincinnati and Pittsburgh as far as the weather goes. Can't imagine we'll get one for Pittsburgh just because we know that the issue there isn't going to be until after the game starts. Cincinnati, maybe even Detroit, there might be a chance of some earlier rain. So we'll keep an eye out if any of those games decide to delay their starts. But anything else, TJ, anything else at pitcher? Spidey bombs, where are we at?
No, that's about it on pitcher. I'm a bit more keen to pay down than I think Tim is. I don't mind getting to I don't mind getting to a lot of Jonathan Cannon. I don't mind getting to Aaron Savali, and even going with a double pay down route, pairing them with Olsen. People are incredible today, hitting the like button. Shout out to YouTube, because I said second one at 50 likes. We're at 96. So we got enough for the second, we got enough for the third, and we're almost at enough for the fourth. So look, I got lots of home run bets today. It's a good day for home runs. Keep them coming. And we will keep getting some more Spidey bombs as well. So I just got to compare to what I bet on, what they are on scores and odds to make sure I give people the right one. But next up, Spidey bomb number 1 was Ozzy Albies. Number 2, and I'll put these on a ticker scrolling at the bottom too. Number 2, Yordan Alvarez plus 350 on FanDuel. Number 3, David Fry plus 575 on MGM plus 560 on FanDuel. And number 4, since I'm assuming since the people have been so wonderful that they have already put it up over 100 likes already, let's go with Riley Green, Spidey bomb number. I like Cannon, but I still think Riley Green's going to hit a homer. So Riley Green, Spidey bomb number 4 plus 550 on MGM. And plus 520 on FanDuel.
That was one of my taters.
We got a combined tater, Riley Green.
Yep. That's and I like Riley Green as well. Tagged him up today. So the trifecta on Riley Green works for today home run pick. So, all right, let's go ahead and turn our attention here and start going through the slate for offense. We'll leave time for some questions at the end of the show. If you are not familiar, all you have to do is be a RotoGrinders member to get into our Discord. You do not have to be a premium subscriber. rotogrinders.com/Discord. We've got a channel dedicated to those who want to ask questions while we're live on the air. That is the live stream chat channel in the Discord. So fire off your questions there. Obviously, we'll try to interact with the YouTube where we can, but we will prioritize questions from the live stream chat channel. So make sure you are getting into that Discord. It's a great spot. So, and if you are interested in signing up for RotoGrinders Premium, of course, there's never been a better time to do that. We've got PGA, we've got MMA, we've got MLB, we've got WNBA, we've got Game 7 of the NHL Finals tomorrow. We've got an option for whatever you're looking for. You can get yourself a 6-month combo subscription at an exclusive price of $469.99, which is a savings of $250 over buying 6 individual months of combo premium. Can also get your first month for $40 off for a limited time. And if you want a test run before you're buying, you can dip your toes in the water with a 3-day pass for $19.99. Check the links in the description for more info on that. All right, let's talk bats here. TJ, where are you looking for stacks today?
Guards, one thing I just want to say is you are like the only person that doesn't have trouble with that read with the dip your toes in the water part, myself included. For some reason, that sentence always trips people up, including myself, and you just get smooth through it, right? Nice and easy. In terms of stacks today, I'm just now doing my lineup set, so I'll know exactly how much I have of everybody after this one is done, but I really like Atlanta today in tournaments going up against Nestor Cortez. Cincinnati is my top stack on the board. I'll probably be underweight on Toronto. I'll still get some Toronto because they're nice and cheap, but chalky Toronto doesn't feel good. And so I'll be underweight there. I like Cleveland in tournaments. Seattle and Miami are projecting really well in the bat projections, which feels weird considering the pitchers, aren't horrible, aren't terrible. We don't know about Tyler, but Bryce Miller is pretty good. And both teams are projecting really well, though, despite it being in Miami. Baltimore's fine for tournaments. I really like Houston, and I like Texas quite a bit as well.
All right. Yeah, I don't have a problem with the dip the toes phrase. And, of course, that one's a piece of cake compared to some of the long ones on the Sirius XM stuff, man. Yeah, those ones are pretty rough. So happy to know that I'm able to make it through that one without stumbling too much. Tim, what do you got for stacks today?
Yeah, Cincinnati's my favorite stack on the board overall. They have an implied team total of over 5, which is, I believe, right now is the highest on the slate. So definitely love, getting to Ellie De La Cruz. I think he should be a core play in your cash games, core play in any format. Somebody I try to get overweight on in GPPs. Absolutely love Ellie today. Love the Reds just in general. I do agree with TJ. Chalky Toronto does not feel very good. I'm not getting to them really in cash or GPPs. I don't really like them that much. Yeah, Derek Carty's the bat is very high on Seattle. I think Dominic Canzone is a really solid salary saver play on both sites. He is 3,200 on DK, and I think he's only 2,400 on FanDuel. I think he's a fantastic play. The bat has Rodriguez as its top overall bat. I mean, I know that seems a little ambitious, but the bat is a great projection system, so I don't think you should ignore that. So I'm getting to some Seattle in my single entry team. Definitely playing a 3-man of Seattle right now. I think Baltimore is extremely interesting. Getting that team at any kind of low ownership on any slate, I think, is viable in large field GPPs. They're such a strong offense, and Valdez is such a low strikeout pitcher, so I'm not really scared of him at all. So I think Baltimore is a fantastic stack. And then I do agree with TJ. I think Texas going up against Marsh is very strong.
Yeah, Marsh was a popular value pitcher his last time out against the A's, and then he had his worst start of the year. So going back to maybe being who we would expect for Alec Marsh, Texas playing pretty good baseball right now as well. They're looking to sweep that series here today. So, all right, that takes us through the pitchers and the stacks. And again, we will go through position by position as usual, and then we will start to take your questions in the Discord. I will pull that up. Again, live stream chat is the channel you want to be dropping those questions in. We do have one from our good pal Carolina guy. FanDuel single entry top stack and DK single entry favorite pitchers. So, TJ, I'll throw the FanDuel stack to you. FanDuel single entry, if you got one single entry lineup, who's your stack?
Cincinnati.
And then Tim, DK single entry, what would be your pitching combo?
It's really tough. I'd go Olsen, and I would go. I mean, I want it to be Skeens, but I'd probably go Olsen Lodolo.
Yeah, that's kind of where I land as well. And again, need to monitor the chance of a potential early delay there in Cincinnati. But I do really like Lodolo. Also, Boston, that is the highest strikeout rate right now in the league against left-handed pitching. So I think it's a really good spot for him and for the Reds today. All right, let's go ahead and start rolling through the analysis here, pitcher by pitcher. I already did that. But the offense is kind of rough today, so I just want to stick and talk about pitchers because it's not going to be pretty at some of these positions. I mean, the second highest team total today belongs to the Tigers. So if that tells you, well, A, it tells you how bad the White Sox are, and B, it tells you how rough the slate is for offense. No offense to the Tigers, but Tim, I'll stick with you and let's talk catcher.
Yeah, definitely kind of a tricky position, I think, in any format. I think Sean Murphy is an okay play in cash games at 3.3, despite, an average matchup against Cortez. I do like Atlanta. Sean Murphy is too cheap for his skill set, so he'd probably be my preferred cash game catcher. I think you could also go to Yonder Diaz at 3,900. I think he's completely fine. Tyler Stevenson at 3,600 is completely fine. Really kind of like pretty much like an only in stacks position for me, though. It's kind of a weak position other than Adley. But I really can't say. Unless you're stacking Baltimore, I'm not going to one off a $5,700 Adley Rutschman.
Yeah, Adley does have good numbers against lefties this year, and I think it was Tim that mentioned earlier. Anytime you can get Baltimore at relatively low ownership, I think they're interesting for GPPs, but do kind of prefer them as a stack. So, TJ, what do you like at catcher today?
3 players here I really love. Obviously, we got one Spidey Bomb, David Fry. He's got catcher eligibility. My favorite guy to get up to if I can. But in the mid-tier, Tyler Stevenson and Yiner Diaz. Stevenson batting 5th, Diaz batting cleanup. 2 favorite options in that range, and they're also my 2 highest owned catchers, with Fry just slightly behind. Followed by them, it's just only in stacks. Murphy, Jansen, Wong, Rutschman, they're going to be my highest owned guys, and then just some cheapies that are thrown in there.
Yeah, certainly not a position that's super glamorous today. You've got some guys getting days off. Sounds like Wilson Contreras might come back for the Cardinals tomorrow, so that's nice, both for DFS catching position and for my squad. So, but he's not in there yet today, and of course, a few guys getting days off on Sundays. Do like Fry he's a bit pricey, but good power against lefties, and we know Kikuchi is susceptible to lefties. So if you're playing Fry on DraftKings, certainly he can take that catcher spot, and you don't have to play him in the outfield. All right, TJ, I will stick with you, and let's move it over to first base.
So first base, we have actually the final Spidey bomb since we just hit 150 likes. Maybe not final. If we can get 200, I absolutely would find some more for the people because they're absolutely crushing it today. There's over 500, I believe, watching on YouTube and over 900 watching across the site. So shout out to everyone joining us today on a Sunday morning if you're on the West Coast, early afternoon if you're on the East Coast. Final Spidey bombs, Heimer Candelario plus 400 on DK, plus 450 on Bet MGM. But I could probably do one more if we get it up over 100 or 200 likes. Sorry, he is my highest owned first baseman today, but you can play him at third as well. So that's probably why I have so much. But I got 24%, so I'm playing him at probably his projected ownership at each of the positions today. So I'll be double the field there. I'm getting to some Spencer Steer, Matt Olson in the lefty-lefty matchup, and I really like Atlanta stacks today. A little bit of Vladdy, but I'll have about half the field. I like Tellez as a cheap option, and I actually like a Pittsburgh stack today as well, and I think I forgot to mention them in stacks. And then Ryan Mountcastle would be the last guy that I would like and consider using as a one-off.
All right, Tim, I'll go over to you. What do you like at first base today?
Yeah, Amir Candelario is my favorite first baseman on the slate, both FanDuel and DraftKings. Spencer Steer, I like quite a bit also. He's triple position eligible on FanDuel and only 3,300 over there, so I think he makes for a better FanDuel play, but I think he's still strong on DraftKings. I like Ty France quite a bit. I've talked about the Mariners. Definitely love that Ryan Mountcastle call. Any of these Baltimore righties, I think, are firmly in play in GPP at least. And same with Matt Olson. Vlad, he's going to be like the most popular first baseman, I think, on both sites, and I'm really not really into that. I know that he's kind of hit the ball better the last couple days, but I don't know. I'm not gonna play a chalky Vlad.
2 days, everyone's ready to pounce
Right.
back on.
Right.
But it's not exactly the strongest position, but I would take at that similar price range. Give me Candelario over Vlad myself today. So otherwise, pretty much agree with all the guys that you and TJ mentioned there. All right, let's go ahead and flip it on over to second base. Tim, what do you got at second today?
So cash games on both sites, it's probably Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. He's 3,200 on DraftKings, 2,500 on FanDuel, batting leadoff in a good matchup. Tournaments and single entry, that's a different story. I'm not sure if I'm completely in love with that, but I think cash games, he's the guy. I really like Jonathan India as a pivot, kind of like within that same price point as IKF. So I do like India quite a bit. Colt Keith is very cheap on both sites. He's only 2,300 on DraftKings. So, I mean, if you need the savings, I think he's a really strong points per dollar play. And then, again, we've talked about this Atlanta team, Ozzy Albies. And if you have the money at second and you want to pay up, I think Marcus Semien is probably your pay up second baseman. If you don't want to punt the position, I think Marcus Semien would be a good cash game option.
All right, TJ, let me throw this over to you. What do you like at second?
On the Albies, the Spidey Bum is my favorite play here and highest owned. And then Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, even though I don't love the full Blue Jays stack today, I am still getting to him in the leadoff. He's having like his best season ever and has been one of the few bright spots for the Blue Jays this year. And so I'm getting some Kiner-Falefa. I like Jonathan India as part of my red stacks. I like Colt Keith as the salary saving one-off. Nick Lofton is leading off now that Adam Frazier got scratched, and then I like Jordan Westberg for the Orioles as well.
All right, so we do have a Twitter update 2 minutes ago from Roth. It says nothing imminent around Pittsburgh right now, increasing chances for spotty downpours as the game moves on. If you want starting pitchers here, I think it's fine to roll the dice, as delay chances are better late than early, but know that it's not safe and a delay could happen at any time. So there's probably your only Skeens update that you're going to get here before. I mean, that game locks in 19 minutes, so I doubt that forecast is going to change in the next 10 minutes. Just showers and downpours that could pop up at any time, with those chances increasing as the game goes along. So that's the Pittsburgh update.
We just got the Cincinnati update too.
All right, so let me refresh here. I was posted that while I was reading.
I can do that one. That's no worries. Moderate showers over Cincinnati now, with more of this kind of activity to come. Probably wouldn't be enough to stop play, but might be enough to trigger a late start, and still a chance of delay past that.
All right, so that game starts fairly shortly as well. I am monitoring the Reds official Twitter account. Don't see any announcement of a delay just yet, but it seems like if they do decide to start on time, it sounds like they'll be able to play through it. So chances are that all starting pitchers are good, but we will continue to keep an eye on that. All right, I think you both went through second base while I was monitoring that. TJ, you can go to third, assuming I'm correct here.
Yep.
Heimer Candelario, obviously my top guy here, a Spidey bomb. Jose Ramirez coming in number 2. I saw somebody in the YouTube chat asking if he would be a Spidey bomb. He's not a Spidey bomb, but I actually did bet him to hit a home run today as well. Austin Riley, another guy I like. And then outside of those 3, it's basically just only in stacks. I got some Josh Rojas batting second. You could play Jordan Westberg at third base today, but it's mainly just Candelario, Ramirez, Riley, and then guys in stacks.
All right, Tim, what do you like at third base?
Yeah, I don't really like a ton at third today. I mean, obviously, J-Ram is a fantastic play if you want to pay $6,200, but I just don't think you can do that in cash. If you're not playing Candelario at first, you should be playing him at third. Brian Hayes, I think, is a good, strong value option for any format. Justin Turner, same kind of deal. I think those two would be my cheap guys at third. But really not a position that I really love. So likely I'm going to be living in that mid 3K range if I have Candelario at first base.
Yeah, it's a rough position. A lot of the top end guys are in tougher matchups. I do like Jose Ramirez as a one-off. Obviously, he's expensive, but with what Kikuchi allows for right-handed power, I think if you go cheaper, like if you're going Olsen at pitcher, if you're going with the cheaper stack, being able to get Ramirez in there as a one-off, I think does make sense. We are at about 17 minutes to lock here. So again, reminder, we have to go through shortstop. We have to go through outfield. And then we should have a good 10 minutes or so for questions. Get those in rotogrinders.com/Discord in the live stream chat channel. We'll start firing those off here as soon as we get through the last couple of positions, and make sure you get your questions answered before lineups lock at 1:35. So, all right, Tim, I mentioned third base kind of not very exciting. Shortstop is at least a little more exciting with some top end plays here. So what do you like at short today?
Shortstop's absolutely loaded. I think I say this pretty much every slate. Like, I would not pay down at shortstop. Corey Seager might be, I think Ellie De La Cruz is the best play on the slate, but Seager's right behind him. We have Bobby Witt, Henderson, O'Neal Cruz. Like, all these guys are like unbelievable one-offs, unbelievable, pieces of stacks. So definitely a payout position for me. I'm playing Ellie on FanDuel and DraftKings. He's my priority, but if you guys don't have the money for him, drop down to Seager. That's fine. Drop down to O'Neal Cruz. I think that's fine also. But Ellie is my favorite play on the entire slate.
Yeah, that power speed combination, the way the Reds steal bases. I mean, I think both Ellie and Seager are high-end plays today. If you can fit them, don't mind using them both on FanDuel. Obviously, that takes some salary cap, but you can find some value at the other positions. Duran for Texas is probably the value outside of Kiner Falefa. That if you're playing him, most people probably playing him at second. Or IKF is like eligible at 6 positions on FanDuel, so you can basically play him anywhere you want on FanDuel. But Duran will be the other guy, at least on DK, that probably gets some love as a value. I prefer playing him at third if you're playing him. But TJ, what do you like at short today?
Elito Cruz is my highest owned guy as well, followed by Kiner Falefa and Corey Seager. I really like O'Neal Cruz today as well. I think he's a great play. And then Bobby Witt at 3%, 4%, Gunnar Henderson at 6%. These are just fantastic plays at low ownership today.
Yeah, you can get, because Ellie and Seager are going to take up a good majority of the ownership, you can get some of those elite shortstops at much lower ownership than what we're used to. So like that call in some GPP builds, especially if you are building a lot of lineups today. All right, let's go ahead and move to the outfield before we start getting to questions. And TJ, what do you like in the outfield today?
TJ Friedel is actually my highest owned bat in the outfield today, followed by Yordan Alvarez. Spidey Bomb, absolutely love him in tournaments. Getting a lot of David Fry, a lot of Adam Duvall. I like Tyler Freeman at low ownership in tournaments. Jesus Sanchez and Dominic Canzone, both really low owned, cheap options that I think could potentially homer today. I'm getting a Sam Adalis, but he's getting a lot of ownership today. Riley Green I like, but again, a lot of ownership. And then Jazz Chisholm, I think, and Marcelo Ozuna, both absolutely awesome at low ownership today.
All right. So I like those calls, especially Ozuna. In terms of, the way the Braves have hit this year, Ozuna's been basically the one guy carrying the team. Obviously, we all talked about Riley Green in terms of home run odds today. A lot of the more expensive outfielders not picking up a ton of ownership on this slate because you got, Judge, Soto facing a really good lefty and Max Fried. You got the Boston guys are facing a really good lefty and Nick Lodolo. So most people are probably going to go for maybe one of those spendy outfielders. But with Riley Green probably being the most popular, which is a little bit weird, and then kind of going mid-range and value after that. So, Tim, what do you like in the outfield today?
Yeah, my favorite value play in the outfield is Dominic Canzone, hitting cleanup for the Mariners. Way too cheap on both sites, not getting ownership on either site, right around 2% on DK. And that was with a recent update as well. So he's not, he might not be that low, but he's going to be low. So I absolutely love him. I also love Will Benson on both sites, going along with that red stack that I absolutely love. I know that Riley Green is going to be highly owned. TJ and I both picked him to hit a home run today. So I do like him at 4,900. I do like Adolis Garcia quite a bit too. If you're, going to be playing some Rangers. It's kind of weird. Chaz Chisholm is way too cheap. So 4,300 for him. I know it's not a great matchup, but still, like that's really, really cheap for him. So I think he's fine in any format. And then Ozuna, I think, is going to he's going to be under 10%. So I do like this Atlanta stack, and Ozuna just crushes lefties. So I don't mind him at all in tournaments, at least.
Marlins have been at least playing a little better baseball this week. A couple of actually 3 straight walk-off wins before they kind of got smacked around a little bit yesterday. So we mentioned the bat, kind of liking both teams from that game, maybe a little bit better than the public would. So I don't hate the GPP calls on some of those guys that you're going to be able to get at 3, 4, 5% ownership today. All right, it's been completely quiet in the Discord since Carolina guys' question earlier, and then Bill T mentioned the 4 amigos will be different by taking both pitchers in the Detroit Chicago White Sox game. So most people are liking Reese Olson, but he likes Cannon as well, who TJ also mentioned a little bit earlier in the show. All right. Let's see. I'm going to scroll through the YouTube here. And again, get those questions in now. We've got 10 minutes left until lock. Kid Kobe on the YouTube is asking, and I don't think we talked about him a whole lot. So thoughts on Kikuchi against the Guardians, or potentially bats for the Guardians against Kikuchi? TJ, you're the Toronto guy. What do we make of this matchup today?
Yeah, I'd rather go with the bats against him than go with Kikuchi today.
So some of those right-handed power bats. I mean, I really like Jose Ramirez, David Fry. Those are guys, and I believe Fry was a Spidey bum as well.
Yeah, probably not the full stack, but like Fry, Freeman,
yeah.
Ramirez. I just love that.
Yeah, Fry, full stacking against Kikuchi usually isn't the path. I mean, he doesn't usually give up a ton of hits. It's just when he gives up hits, he tends to give up some power. So, and J3 says TJ has been conspicuously quiet about the Oilers. Tim likes the Oilers just to try to upset Dean. I know that much.
Those are facts.
I was talking smack before the series, and it went to 3-0. I'm not saying anything right now.
TJ is gonna ride Uncle Mo all the way to Game 7. He can talk after. That's fine. Lodolo or stay away with the weather. I mean, I'm rolling it, but obviously there's some risk there. If there's a rain shower going over right now, I mean, they might delay the game at the start. Does not seem like that is happening. I'm still rolling Lodolo, or if you're rolling Skeens, obviously seems like that's fine as well. All right, Beaner with a question in the Discord. Let's see, this FanDuel GPP 3v3. Tim, I'll throw this one to you. The first one is Orioles, Rutschman, Westberg, and Mateo, or go with more Texas exposure with Seager, Adolis, and Kiner Falefa. FanDuel GPP.
I'd go the second one.
All right. And Greatness is asking Skeens or Lodolo. TJ, what's your exposure to Skeens and Lodolo?
Probably a little surprising, but I have 62% Skeens and 11% Lodolo.
All right, so TJ's going leaning certainly on the Skeens exposure there, and his ownership might end up checking in a little bit lower just because some people might get nervous with that weather forecast.
I am gonna play Skeens and cash just so everybody knows.
I mean, it seems like there's no real issue with that game starting on time. You know, even if 4 innings from Skeens might be enough for him to get like 9 Ks. So it doesn't seem like there's anything super imminent. Obviously, Roth is trying to cover his bases if the game ends up getting washed out in the 3rd inning from having everybody, I played Skeens. And again, it seems like there's been weather issues pretty much every time Skeens is pitched. So you just got to have a little bit of risk baked in there. Razzle Dazzles, Tim is asking, is Westberg and Candelario too cute in DK Cash?
Westberg was not on my radar for cash games. Candelario definitely is.
I think Candelario is definitely fine.
Yes.
I wouldn't play Westberg in cash against
a
pitcher.
There was a question on YouTube that said, like, who are just the top overall plays for DraftKings cash? And I think Candelario is maybe the most important piece for DraftKings cash for me at 4,200. Him and Kiner Falefa would be like my 2 favorite sources of salary savings for cash.
Yeah, and I mean, Candelario's been raking pretty good too. Cincinnati's got the highest team total on the slate. Boston's rolling some combination of bullpen game that might get Chase Anderson involved, which sounds like a good recipe for bats against. So, yeah, I'm totally fine with Candelario, but Westberg I probably wouldn't use in cash. All right. What is your favorite cheap pitcher for FanDuel GPPs? TJ, who you got cheap pitcher on FanDuel GPP?
I will take a peek at that right now, just swapping over to FanDuel. But in the meantime, I'm going to throw something to Tim so that I have time to go look at it. DK Cash, Tim, would you rather Riley Green and Wyatt Langford or J-Rod and Canzone?
Yeah, I saw this in chat and was hoping I didn't have to answer that because it's pretty tough.
For what it's worth, I like that. Like, the bat says the Seattle side by a fairly wide margin. I like the other side a lot better.
Well, the problem is Canzone actually has pretty big pinch hit risk, which for cash is bad news. So it's really, really close, but I would actually go the Riley Green side.
I think on the expert survey, I put Wyatt Langford as my sneaky home run today too. Cheap pitcher for FanDuel. I guess Reese Olson is 8.3 there. He is not very cheap. Cannon is 8K. He is not very cheap. Savali at 7.8. I guess it would still be Reese Olson at 8.3, but I'd be much more willing to spend up on FanDuel. I would borderline hit the lock button on Paul Skeens if I was playing 150 there. I think I probably would do that. I would play 150 Paul Skeens lineups.
That's a lot of Skeens.
Do you have any Olsen Cannon lineups, DJ?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I don't know how many exactly, but they're my second and third highest owned pitchers. So behind Skeens, so I do have a lot of them. Actually, no, sorry. Webb is number 2, and then Cannon and Olsen are 3 and 4.
All right, Carolina guy asking about any love for Sonny Gray. I can answer that, I guess, as the Cardinals fan. So Gray hasn't thrown more than 95 pitches once all season, which is a little bit strange. I mean, obviously, Minnesota was a little more careful with him, but they pulled him in his last start, and then the bullpen blew the lead. So maybe they'll let him go a little bit longer. I don't hate it. I mean, I probably prefer Logan Webb just because we know he's got that 100+ pitch potential in him. But Gray is fine. I mean, especially if you're actively looking for a pivot away from Skeens, Gray's the guy with some strikeout upside. Tim, DK Cash, would you use the top 4 guys in the Cincinnati lineup?
I don't think
that would be Friedel, Ellie, Candelario, and Steer.
You skip Steer.
I would skip Steer. Yeah, probably in cash, but I do have him on my FanDuel team.
All right, greatness. FanDuel GPP, Skeens in a Toronto stack or Olsen in a Rangers stack. TJ, I'll throw that to you.
I'd still go Skeens in Toronto, even though I don't love Toronto.
Amateur hour. DK single entry GPPs, bounce back spot for Alex Marsh, or he's back down to earth. So would you take holy smokes, man, I cannot follow this question. A mini Seattle 2v2 Alec Marsh and Crawford versus Olsen and Seager as a one-off. I don't see where the
Olsen and Seager by far. You're not playing.
I would definitely go the Olsen Seager side.
Alec Marsh and Crawford. I'm sorry, man, I can't follow your question, but could also leave 1,200 and play. It must be JP Crawford. Alec Marsh and JP Crawford. Yeah, no, you don't want to do that. Could also leave 1,200 and play Olsen and JP. No, play Olsen and Seager. Sorry, it took me a while to navigate through your question there, but we made it. We did it. Let's see. Rolling through. TJ, you see anything else? We got about a minute left here, and we're caught up in the Discord. Anything else in the YouTube?
Seager or Dela Cruz, one off in DK GPP. If you can afford Dela Cruz, you play Dela Cruz. But if Seager helps you get something better, then you do that. Favorite outfielder to spend up on in DK Cash, not named Aaron Judge, Tim.
They have 6,500.
Just less than that. I think they have 6,400. Oh,
it's weird because everybody
and under. Then if you have $6,500, you play Judge. You always play Judge,
right?
No matter who he's facing. If you have $6,500, Crawford or Langford. Why? What's with all the JP Crawford love? You play.
I don't know. Well, the bat likes Seattle, like you said.
White Sox stack. Eloy is back. No, I do have like a couple White Sox stacks, but they're like my lowest.
That team needs more help than Eloy.
Yeah, Robert's gone, so it's worse than usual. Tim said his taters in chat. I think we're good there. We got everything.
I think we got everything, and we are at the lock. So again, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Kudos to that. Everybody did a great job hitting that like button today. Should be a fun slate of baseball. Hopefully the weather holds off. And as always, we appreciate you all joining us. So thanks to TJ for producing as well as hosting. Thanks to Tim for joining. And I'm Justin, and we hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday, everybody. Take care. We'll catch you later.